After just 1 year, I quit what I thought was my dream job. I was a software engineer at Facebook making over $200,000 a year, and honestly, it lived up to most of my expectations. But ultimately, I still decided to leave. So in this video, I'm going to share the 3 primary factors that led me to leaving that job, and a framework that you can use to analyze when it might be time to leave your job as well. I also want to be extremely clear in saying that I don't regret my decision to work at Facebook. In fact, it was a great experience. It was a life-changing experience. But that said, all good things do need to come to an end. So let's discuss the real reason that I left my job at Facebook. Facebook has a culture built around this phrase, focus on impact. And that phrase means a lot to me. If I'm going to spend 40 hours a week on something, I want that something to matter. But the issue was that I looked at this phrase a little bit differently than the company, and that's actually the first factor for why I decided to leave Facebook. You see, they look at impact as sort of a holistic, how can the company have the most impact on the world? And as an individual, as an employee, you're supposed to do the work items that are going to have the most impact, or at least you should prioritize those work items. But to me, my impact is not the impact of the products that I work on. My impact is the net change in the impact of those products based on me working on it. And what I found was if I left Facebook, or eventually when I did leave Facebook, the impact of those products wouldn't change at all. So that means that my net impact was pretty close to zero. And what I mean by this is essentially just that I was replaceable. Nothing about my job couldn't be hired out to somebody else. And to me, that just wasn't very motivating. I wasn't motivated by impact, knowing that when I left, they would just hire somebody else to have the exact same impact. And that left me with this question. If your job is completely replaceable, if your impact can be hired out to somebody else, are you having impact at all? When I first joined Facebook, all the way back in 2018 as an intern, I felt like I hit some kind of life jackpot. I was really enjoying my work. I was learning a lot on the job, and I was having a lot of fun with my coworkers. And to some extent, when I left Facebook, none of that had completely changed. It was still true, but I felt like it was starting to change. I felt like each and every day I was learning just a little bit less than I learned the day prior. And while this is natural, because as you learn more things, there's just less to learn, I still felt like my growth rate was slowing down. And to me, that was a bit of a discouraging sign. And that diminishing growth rate, along with just a lowered motivation, is the second reason that I decided to leave Facebook. And now, I don't think this is the fault of the company. I think this is just natural. It's what happens when you work at the same place for the majority of your career. And that's what I had done. I'd even been an intern at this company. So I felt like it was time for me to move on and sort of broaden my horizons. And now we cannot discuss leaving a company without discussing compensation, which is the third contributing factor for why I left Facebook. Now, it's no secret that software engineers at big tech companies like Google and Facebook make a lot of money, so compensation on its own wasn't a reason to leave. But rather, it was about the incentive system built around compensation. So as a software engineer, you are incentivized to do your best work based on compensation primarily. So you get an annual bonus, and that is based on your performance, as well as you could potentially be promoted, which results in higher compensation. And again, that is based on performance. So this is sort of how they incentivize you to do your best work. But I just didn't find this all that motivating. I was perfectly fine with how much money I was making. And of course, I wanted to make more money like anybody else, but it just wasn't super big as a motivator for me. Now, on the other hand, when I left, I decided to join Algo Expert and create the Front-End Expert course. And for this, most of my compensation was related to the performance of the product. So if Front-End Expert does well, I could make way more money than I would at Facebook. And if it does poorly, I could make less money. And to me, this was more motivating, along with the fact that just my name was attached to this product. So there's a pride aspect to it that motivated me a lot more to do my best work. And to me, that's really important to feel like I have some motivation to be doing as much as possible to create the best products as possible. And I just wasn't really getting that at Facebook. Okay, so that's the basics of why I left my job at Facebook. But I think it's far more useful if we take my reasoning and we sort of transform it into a broader framework that you can use to decide when it might be time to leave your own company. So then when is it the right time to leave a company? Well, of course, the answer is it depends, but I think we can still have a framework that we can apply to each and every situation. So the way I like to think about this is in terms of opportunity cost. What opportunity are you giving up if you stay at your current company? And what value does that opportunity bring to your life? This can be monetary value, of course, but it can also be value in terms of personal growth or work-life balance or a variety of other things that might be important to you. So think about what's important to you and how are you getting more value out of this other opportunity? And then compare that value to the value of your current job. And if that value is greater than the value of your current job, then maybe it's time to consider moving on. For me, I saw that the value of staying at Facebook was declining over time. And I also had this incredible opportunity to join Algo Expert and create the Front-End Expert course. And this opportunity just felt like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It felt like the type of thing that if I didn't take it, 5 years from now, I would be saying, what if I did do that thing? And to me, that was a feeling I didn't want to ever have. So that potential regret is what made it extremely easy for me to say, yes, the opportunity cost is greater than the value of staying at my current job. So for me, that's why I decided to leave Facebook. While I've pointed out a lot of flaws about working at Facebook throughout this video, I want to end this by reiterating the fact that it is still an incredible place to work, and I am extremely grateful for that opportunity to work there. But that said, it is still a job, just like any other job, and it is a job at a massive corporation. And working in a big company naturally is going to come with some flaws. So I guess the biggest takeaway for me was to pay less attention to the value of your current job and more attention to the value curve and the slope of that curve. So is your growth rate increasing or is it decreasing? And if it is decreasing, what can you be doing to make it increase? And potentially that could mean considering other opportunities elsewhere. So with that said, that is the end of this video. If you did enjoy it and you want to hear more about my story and how I became a Facebook software engineer, check out this video here. As well, if you want to see future content from me, make sure to subscribe down below and I will see you in the next video.